Today, you're going to see what, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting things we're going to make in the entirety of this Eurovision season. If you've been watching the contest for a few years now, you'll know that some of the most iconic stagings and also the current favourite to win this year's contest have come from the creative mind of one person. That person is Sergio Jaen. Today, not only are we going to speak to him, he's going to sit down here with us and take us through some of his most iconic work at the contest and its surroundings. That includes, by the way, last year's winner, Wasted Love by JJ. You're about to see an unparalleled insight into the development processes for these stagings, some of the challenges that were faced, and a little more about what it takes to get these things working on a Eurovision stage. We're going to be going through 4 different stagings that I have chosen to represent a hopefully wide sample of the different things that Sergio has done in this contest. Without further ado, I think it's time we get started. And now we are here, and Sergio is here. And this is something that's really exciting for me because you have been in the position of making some of the most talked about and most successful stagings of recent years. But before we turn to these performances, how was it to win the Eurovision Song Contest?
Wild. And it's even wilder to just be here now in Vienna. Like this, basically the result of a few months of work. A year ago, I'm going into the arena and seeing my team and seeing JJ, other people that were involved in the delegation last year, heading departments in the contest. So it was the dream of my life. I remember when I was at school, actually, I performed El Tiki Tiki, and so I was him with a little guitar and everything. And
my first ever Eurovision.
Really,
I love that song.
Okay, well, that I was very into it for some reason, and so I did that. And then I was one of those gays, basically that took everyone, and then in lunch break we would do Eurovision or The Voice or whatever, and just pretend that we were doing all of that. And I was always directing it. So to go from that to here, it's quite wild.
You're actually directing now.
Yeah.
And I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the highlights you've had in the contest. And there's only one place really to start, in my opinion. Bambie Thug, 2024. They are someone who is really fondly remembered by Eurovision fans. They had this extraordinary stage show. And this was your kind of sliding doors moment. I
got contacted by a production company that I already did a few jobs for, and a director. And so them both wanted me to produce the music video for this artist called Bambie Thug. And obviously already that was a dream. Producing a music video for an artist that was gonna end up in a song contest. I created the music video with the director, produced it in basically a week and a half. But then throughout that week and a half, I discovered that they didn't have anyone to do the performance. And so I pitched an idea to Michael, who was the head of delegation for Ireland, and he was very convinced about it. And so we started working because actually we had basically no time submitting all the details of the performance to the...
And that's in early March already.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
don't understand it's a long way before. So we're really looking at a period of a few weeks to put all this together.
I probably have said it before. I think it was very little, but I don't know exactly how long it was. Just a few weeks in between, finishing the music video and submitting all the details for the performance. I would never thought I was going to be able to reach or to have the opportunity to do. And it's going to be one chance only, and once in a lifetime experience. And so that's why we would just put everything on it. And then it just happened that that I had more calls incoming later in the recent years.
Well, I'm not surprised after this one. I think we should take a look at it. Weird that it's 2 years ago, right?
It was 2 years ago. Yeah. It feels like ages ago now.
I remember when the rehearsal clip dropped for this and the way in which everyone immediately, that the narrative totally changed.
I really, really wanted, and this was also something that Bambie were very into, the idea of Bambie controlling the audience perception of the performance. So Bambie controlling the camera with their hands, with their look towards camera. The ring of candles is rising up. That was actually where everything started. It was a drawing. I was in London in this random cafeteria, drawing like 2 hours before Bambie was supposed to come and meet me, and I had to like give them like some, rough ideas. And so my first drawing was the circle of candles and Bambie looking up.
I remember the first time I saw this costume change as well in the rehearsal, and the way we all gasped.
The dress reveal actually was changed on the first rehearsral in the arena. We changed the moment where it happened. It was actually supposed to happen somewhere else, I'm never going to say. But, little things that we actually polished during our stay in Malmo.
I think as well, what I really love about this performance is the amount of personal expression that Bambie included, despite the restrictions that they were under. And people will notice lots of this. I mean, infamously, there was the script on their face that had to be changed. One thing that I think a lot of people missed was the keys on the fingernails, which are a Palestinian symbol of return to.
We had quite a few. We had quite a few symbols. I mean, and there is more that probably no one has caught up on because they're very small or ingrained within the colors of the performance in certain moments. But of course, that was something that was very important for our team and for Bambie, and so we did. Some of these like symbolisms have to be cut out.
Yes,
and I feel like that's like widely known and fandom.
In some ways, it was a Streisand effect because I don't think the script on the face, for example, would have become anywhere near as big a deal if it weren't for the fact it was censored. So in some way, I think the censorship became part of the artistry of it as well.
I think so.
And I think the fact that the message was seen as subversive actually enhanced their presence and their credence with this on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. Something that Bambie and I respect them for. Their beliefs were always the same. They were always advocating for the same thing throughout the process, no matter what. And they pushed for it until the very end, And so that was something that I do respect a lot.
I imagine you were getting a lot of calls after this. Instantly after that, there was this clear feeling. I remember speaking to people about this at the time. This guy's going to be around for a while now. This is not the last time we're going to see this name behind a Eurovision performance.
I think like the first thing that happened was that I met Matti Muliaho, which is basically the producer of UMK, and that was like something that was going to happen. So that meant that I was going to go with Finland to Eurovision. Then also Cyprus very early on, like maybe it was October or something like that, the year before Eurovision. And Austria came, maybe it was February or something like that, February, maybe with like a month and a couple of weeks or so to create everything, rehearse with JJ and send all the details to the contest team. Taya, actually, who is one of the owners of the song, she messaged me on Instagram, and she said something like, we would love to pitch an idea for the staging, and so I was like, okay, just send me a song, and I listened to the song, and I fell in love with it. I told her, please, let's meet. Like, where are you now? Like, let's have a call now. Like, let's not wait. And so she was somewhere in like Vienna, I think, or Berlin. And so she found like a nearby cafeteria and turned her phone on Google Meet. And we had a little chat because I was so obsessed. Like, I was like, I need to do this no matter what. It's so good. Like, I really feel connected to it. And so we did meet. And like 2 days after, I had a treatment ready to send ORF. I think I was not the only one pitching by that time. I know Taya and JJ and their team really wanted me. Like, they really wanted like the idea. Especially JJ. But I know I was not the only one by then. So then internally they chose, and that's how it all came about.
And again, I'm really curious while we watch this, for you to talk us through some of the concepts, some of the choices that were made. I mean, the first and most obvious one was the use of black and white.
Yeah, which was a big fight. I always draw my concepts with white over black. Always. That's how my ideas come to life, because I draw with light, basically. I just couldn't see it with color, basically. I just couldn't imagine it with color at all. It was the way that it was speaking to me the most. And so I had to push a lot with ORF team in order to like get this done in this way. I always like to sprinkle gag moments across performances. We like the paper boat. We have the big boat. We have the mast going up. The blanket that he's wearing at the very beginning that becomes the sail. Actually, I think I've never explained this. He is taking all of his things. He's going through a breakup, right? He packs everything in boxes. And that is, he creates a boat with you know, his life, basically. The paperboard, in a way, is a letter. It's like a WhatsApp message that he sends that guy at the very beginning to say, hey, I'm coming to find you, you know. He realizes, you know, when the storm is happening, that actually what he is doing is the wrong way to deal with it. And so he finds the lighthouse.
Good metaphor, because obviously lighthouses, they guide the way, but they also guide you away from troubled waters, from rocks.
Exactly.
So it's a metaphor that suits it very well.
Exactly.
I must ask, there was one moment which I think a lot of people, it really sold, including me. And he grabs it and he lets out this kind of growl of anger, which we haven't seen from him before.
Of course. Yeah.
Was this something that had been talked about or planned?
Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, this is almost like a real story. I mean, JJ has gone through this. The song is written from a real experience that he had. And so obviously I grabbed onto that.
It felt so real, and also it felt spontaneous when he did it in such a way that I think a lot of people have speculated that he gained a lot from the public in that moment, because that was the moment where it became really real, because it felt like his emotion just spilled over. So I'm not surprised to hear that it came from like a real feeling, a real story for him.
He's risking everything, every book, every item, just for this other person, risking everything. He's creating a fucking boat with this, you know. So it is, risking his whole life just for one person that probably is not thinking about you. And so make sure that everything was connected to him in a way.
Hearing you speak about it, like sort of breathes more life into it as well, understanding more and more and seeing all these layers, all the careful details that underpin it. And this is something I want to talk about with the next one, which is something from this year.
Yeah.
Sadly, we will not be seeing in Eurovision,
Sadly.
but something that I love very much. You were very heavily involved with Benidorm Fest this year. It feels like every tiny detail had been like worried over and fretted about. And for that reason, it creates all of these little moments. This song and the staging of it's a retelling of Carmen.
Yeah.
And it sort of has it's full of references. That I feel like provides a really interesting creative challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it was this one was a very big challenge. We really wanted to squeeze our brains. Like I brought this amazing team, international team, to work in Benidorm. So Rosalinda actually was the performance that I did the last. Rosalinda, I knew something was gonna come to me, and so it did, thankfully. But I really wanted to do it in a very, very different way, like not using LED screens. Like I wanted it to be very theatrical, and really exploring her, her manners and the way of singing, which I love. I knew I wanted to do something 99% Rosalinda, and the rest just completing it with something that I didn't know what it was going to be. Now it's shadows, of course, and it's shadows playing with her body, and on the floor, as we will see. To find a way of making a performance with only one performer on stage with a black background, and still it being super dynamic and tell a story, but with no one else around. One
thing that instantly occurs to me is all three now of these performances we've looked at, they have this very restricted aspect ratio.
I am obsessed. Basically, it's I just really like to compose in 4:3. Look, this moment I love, it's like one of my favorites, is the hug that she declines, It's like
she shakes it off.
Exactly. That shakes off this person that's like trying to look for her or these people, actually, as we can see now, These are probably my favorite two moments of the performance. The hug and the hands touching her.
And then she shakes them off again.
Exactly. And then there's, this person coming. It was very important to me it needed to be three-dimensional somehow. And like moments like that, when you have a shadow crossing by and she's looking and following the shadow, basically completes the performance.
I love the horns with the fingers. on the
like
floor.
that?
Yeah.
That's a great moment from our choreographer, Borja Rueda. Really wanted Rosalinda, make this man, which is basically the person that's prisoning her. I wanted her to make him fly, I wanted her to take him out away, and control him somehow. And so that's what I did here with the Steadicam flying.
It's like a shot of defiance almost.
Exactly. It's like you cannot take me. You cannot take me. And so I'm gonna make you go away, and I can control you fully. And so I came up with the idea of the actual camera being this man, who she is.
All of a sudden, we are the subject of her resentment.
Absolutely. I mean, we are the antagonist in the performance. Now you can see, we're looking at this formation of a strong woman, just saying "fuck you." It was very complex to make, very, very complex, because obviously these lights we're using for the different shadows are not part of the stage. As the set change happened, which is maybe two minutes of a set change, we had to make sure that these lights are set up in the right height, in the right pan and tilt, exactly where she is going to walk and stop, and the dancer is going to come in and put his hand and whatnot. It was very delicate. Yeah.
And this is the thing with something like a shadow, you cannot miss a mark. You miss a mark by 2 centimeters, the shadow will fall in the wrong place and the effect is lost.
Exactly. It is a 2mm thing. It is wild. But then we had an amazing team. Sometimes we don't recognize the dancers' job enough. If there was any issues, they were able to sort it out, by themselves. But they're so fucking amazing. And this Steadicam operator, which is basically one of the dancers, also, he's one of the best in Spain. And yeah, I think it's we were all very happy that we finally accomplished to make everything work, because it wasn't easy,
Well, we have one more we're going to talk about, and we thought it was only right to finish on this year.
Of course, let's go.
And this year, you're working with Finland once again. Yeah. We should say a moment of flowers for Erika Wickman, who I adore. But I really want to talk about a performance that you have coming this year. And it's a clear favourite to win Eurovision right now. It is not in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
It's not. Isn't it wild? It's crazy. Other performances that we have watched, obviously I'm more like an author on them, and so obviously I work on my own. But for example, in this one we are a group of 5 people, which is Matti, which is the producer. We have choreographer, multi-camera director, visual director / lighting designer, and myself, all together sitting at the same table, listening to the songs for the first time and creating the acts. And we do this across maybe a week. We sit together for a week in Finland. Every other UMK performance, and that's why they're so wild, comes from feeling basically completely free in a group of people to just say everything you think. We just expose everything, even if it's horrendous. We say it. And so I had this drawing on my way from Spain to Helsinki to create the performances. I already was making some drawings, and I drew the orchestra bit that Linda is on. And for me, it was about the tension in between, the violin player who is left now alone in this orchestra pit on fire. What did she do to make everything go on fire? It was probably her and the conductor. So for me, I think somewhere in the process, I was what I brought to the table was let's just make it, the story of the conductor and the violinist, and the connection between them both, that they're madly in love with each other, but they cannot even look at each other, because something has happened between them both. There's this growing tension as fire goes on around, and then probably someone else said something about the confession booth, and then just things spark in that group of people, and so we slowly constructed what it is, the performance now. But this group of people that make UMK, we really prioritize the artists and their stories and what they want to say, and our choreographer Reija, she is just wonderful at this. Like they're just taking care so well. They're really being honest here in the performance, and really like she always like pulls the strings to make them like feel comfortable and bring the story to life on stage.
One interesting thing a lot of people commented on was Pete Parkkonen. Obviously, this first shot is beautiful, such a nice way of introducing them. But people pointed out that Pete Parkkonen, he almost holds back from the viewer for the first minute or so. We don't get eye contact until the end of the first chorus.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious choice that was made? Was it something that just came about?
Well, I think that this is part of the narrative, right? We are in a movie, basically. We're not breaking the fourth wall until much later. Actually, we do it as he says. It comes just a bit later.
Yeah, it's he looks up straight at us. And of course, the I guess one of the big sort of practical and technical challenges here is building chemistry between the two of them at the same time when they are physically quite a great distance from each other.
I usually like to have people very close together. I tend to do things very small. Ray and you, he's our choreographer, multi-camera director. They like challenge to separate them to create the tension, which I think it's super interesting and actually works very well. And hopefully we have even polished it more for the Eurovision stage.
I think that was the thing. I mean, it comes with its challenges. And I mean, I remember seeing it in the room was sometimes to change the scene. There's very, very, things have to move very, very, people won't see Pete Parkkonen running behind a cameraman.
Yeah.
Or Matty running on stage to lift Linda up.
Yeah, but we will see that somehow because we're making sure that we get that footage somehow. It's part of the performance, part of the rush of the adrenaline of our team making it possible.
I think this final shot as the camera turns, this is the one that I think people really marked out.
This is where they re-encounter. He's been thinking about. A near past, wishing to someday reunite, even though it's probably extremely toxic and everything unites in fire, and we have this like very, very last 1 second of the performance where everything turns into ashes.
The fact that Linda is playing live, which is literally in terms of a mic'd up instrument specifically, obviously we had Lucia, of course, in the harmonica last year, but this is something unprecedented we're working with in the modern Eurovision context. Does that did knowing that was a possibility change the way that you thought about this performance between UMK and now, or is it very much we have a line, we know what we're doing, we're sticking to it? And has it changed much since UMK?
No, I mean we'll wait and see, of course, for Tuesday. On the semi-final, but we're sticking to the narrative and to the same performance, polishing it, of course, making it more grandiose, making them shine even more. But it's basically the same performance. The live violin, it's actually we are very grateful that and thankful that we can actually do it. But at the end of the day, we have two amazing performers on stage. One of them is Pete with his incredible voice, and Linda with her own voice, which is the violin. You will feel it. You will feel the difference. If you are aware of it, you see the performance and hear the performance in a completely different way. Like the feeling, the emotion that can come from the playing, the live playing, is just so strong, and obviously Linda is such an incredible master. Now we are pumping that up with actually being able to hear the story through her playing.
It's so her voice.
It is her voice. It is her voice. Absolutely.
The thing, everyone agreed. We watched it yesterday. At the time of recording, it was yesterday, and you can instantly tell it's actually really striking. The timbre, but also the way she uses the violin to emote, the way because it sounds so different to the studio version, and the way the crescendos and so on that she puts in just in that little sample we've seen from the start. Yeah,
and you will hear for the whole performance, it's just it's a different experience, and hopefully this sets up a new trend and a new way of doing Eurovision. Hopefully in the next years, because it does sound good. It sounds very good live. So that proves that it can be done.
Well, we're really excited to see it. We're really grateful that you've taken the time to speak to us in what I imagine is an extremely busy week.
Yeah. I mean, but not as busy as last year. I mean, this year I'm only doing Finland, and obviously we have an amazing team, and like this performance was originated in September last year. So we've basically been with this performance for now like more than half a year, and it's been a while. So we know it. We know it's in and out. We know it about like millimeter. Actually, yesterday during the rehearsal, like it was quite funny when you go out of the viewing room or the rehearsal and you realize that you were correcting things that probably no one will ever notice, like a shadow that no one. It's almost like impossible to see, or just a little dot that's in. But like we like massive freaks on our jobs, and we just love to make things like just extremely polished. So hopefully that comes out.
Yeah, I think there's a little intangible thing about the sum total of all those very tiny parts.
Yeah.
Any one of them by themselves, maybe no one notices. But if you fix 20 of them together,
Absolutely.
I feel like the entire thing feels more deliberate, more thought through. Well, we're very excited to see it. For now, we are almost out of time. And so I'm going to quickly say to all of you watching this, please make sure to appreciate some of Sergio's other work. You can Google his name and look on his website to see all the different things he's been up to. For now, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything else that is coming in Eurovision week, because there is so much to come. Thank you. But for now, take care and we'll see you soon.